Hi guys, this is Lily Corniel with Teacher Talks with Mrs. C. This is episode 3 on the Dear New Teacher series. And this is all about who am I, what do I bring to the table, and hopefully this is going to help you decide what you would like from me that can help you get better, be better, or improve if that's what you're looking to do. I am a 16-year veteran teacher that started her career in the state of Florida. I certified in the area of Spanish and wanted to go into the classroom as a Spanish teacher. Got hired in 2004 as a special education teacher. Went in to interview for a position as a ESOL or English as a second language teacher and was offered an opportunity to do special education. At the time, I didn't really know what it entailed or what it was, but I committed to give it 1 year, and after that 1 year, kind of decide if that's something I wanted to continue to do. All I needed was a little bit of guidance and support, which was something they were happy to give and provide. Lo and behold, began my career. After that first year in special education, I sort of fell in love with it because SPED is something that you were born to do, and you realize it quickly. It's either for you or not for you. And I continue to teach in that middle school. Yes, I made it as a middle school special ed teacher. So shout out and a hug to all the middle school teachers out there, because we all know that's the hardest level. Those brains are developing, and that area where you think about consequences of your actions is not quite yet developed. So it's a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to say and leave it at that. After that, I did a couple of years of that, and the principal who was moved to the high school as a principal asked me to move over. I was dually certified, again, in Spanish, K through 12, and special education. And I continued and moved on as a Spanish teacher. So I spent a couple of years in the classroom teaching what here is called as world languages, which is Spanish. I started with freshmen, football players, and cheerleaders. On my first day of co-teaching, he asked me to spell the word onomatopoeia. Let's just say it is not spelled the way it sounds, and we all had a good laugh and a chuckle. And my experience there as a co-teacher was a great one. As a case manager was a great one. I got to deal on the parent side and the student side, the contact side, writing IEPs, which for those of you that don't know the terminology are individual education plans, which are goals broken down by objectives that guide what the student's going to be able to do at the end of the year with the instruction that you're going to provide. And ideally, those services are foundational skills that are going to allow students to access their regular education class. From there, for different years, I would bounce back and forth between Spanish and special education. 1 year actually having 3 periods to teach Spanish, and then the other 3 periods to support and case manage. So can you imagine grading papers, creating and planning, having to write IEPs and support and help? Yes, all I have to say is thank God I was young and I rose to the challenge. It was definitely interesting. While in my high school years, there was a cohort group that began the graduate studies program for educational leadership, and I joined that train, is what I say. They were really excited. There were people that were looking forward to where education was going. And it was an excellent cohort group that actually used information given, that actually used school-based data and information for the classes. So it was like real time, real data, real scoring. If we did a budgeting class, it was related to the budget in that particular school. So high school was the way to go because, as you know, they have teams. I mean, their budgets, everything is just much bigger. You have so many things to contend with and plan and train and do. And thankfully, I was under one of the, I would say, most organized and well-led schools in the particular county. And I consider myself blessed and thankful for have been a part of that particular district at the time. After that, I got the opportunity to move from Central Florida to the state of Connecticut, and I had to decide if education was the way to go. And there was really no question. That's where my heart is. So that's exactly what I did. I substitute taught for a little bit while I got my certification squared away. And I recertified in the area of special education and leadership. For some reason, there was additional coursework that they needed to teach Spanish. In the meantime, I substitute taught Spanish class for a middle school. It was grades 5 through 8 for about 2 years. Then I did a substitute teaching in what's called the Pride program in Connecticut also. And there it was an autism specific unit. To those ladies at the Pride program, once Pride, always Pride, hats off to you. Everything I know today in terms of behavior management and modification, I sort of learned from the paraprofessionals there because I had my content knowledge and I knew meetings and information and all that stuff. But honestly, if you want to become better, open yourself up to learning from everybody. And those ladies have been doing it for so long. And there were so many things that I picked up and learned from them. And I'm so very thankful and grateful for the time I spent there. And the reason I share this with you is no matter if you're substitute teaching, if you're student teaching, if you're supporting, if you're helping, if you're working with a paraprofessional, with a student teacher, every single person has something to teach you. You can learn from everyone. And even those people that you feel like have nothing to teach you, those are probably the ones that teach you the most. So go ahead and take the opportunity and take the plunge and take notes and just look because you will learn something. Lastly, I applied at an elementary school for a special education position, which is my current position. And applied behavior analysis is my specialization. But I have all ranges of students. We have a functional program with a teacher that specifies in that. We have a reading specific program with a special ed teacher that specializes in that. And then everything else in between, it's me. So Lily takes all the students that require behavioral support, that have some concerns that need a little bit of extra help. But I also have students that have deficiencies in the area of reading. I have students that are solely behavioral. So their academics are on grade level, but they need executive functioning support. They need support in the areas of social emotional learning. And I have the support of 2 awesome RBTs, which are registered behavior techs, and a few paraprofessionals that I supervise. So also in addition to working with the student, creating goals, creating data sheets, and tracking behavior or academic progress, I have to have training programs, training managers, and training programs, management techniques, paraprofessional adult support plans, because the goal is to provide the student with the minimal amount of support to level the playing field, with the goal in mind being full integration into the classroom and full student independence. We don't want to prompt dependency on support staff, and it is important that your RBTs and your paras understand that that is the goal and follow, implement, and collect data to be able to pull back student support. And in a nutshell, and in a very, very, very quick overview, this is where all my experience comes from. Again, 16 years I've been in the area of secondary, middle school, elementary school, all as a special education teacher, but also as a Spanish classroom teacher. I had about 2 years of virtual school teaching experience, and all that means is I taught Spanish online. It was, of all the things I've done, sort of my least favorite, because the contact piece, the one-to-one, although you did talk to parents once a month and you contacted the students, it kind of takes away, for me, the piece that I enjoy, which is that human communication, that like getting down to the nitty-gritty of looking at it and figuring out what the problem is and fixing the problem, and then getting students to own problem solving in their own time. So I've done a little bit of everything, and now here I am. And my goal in doing this series, my goal in providing you with all this information and my little short videos, is to make sure that we continue to draw the talent of the people that want to be in the profession, that enjoy doing what they're doing. You are making a difference. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of negative experiences out there, and they're valid, but what you have to do is find your happy place. All work all areas of education have their issues and have their problems, but the only way to change the things we need to see change is by being the change that we want to see, and providing support, giving out those things that you seek and wish that you had. And it is my hope that in doing so, I can inspire some of you, I can support some of you, and I can provide you with the tools that you need to go forward. Please provide me with the feedback on how to get better, how I can better help you get better. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday in the episode of Dear Teacher Talks, episode 4, that will be all about executive function, and not just on what is executive function, but also some strategies to use for our students. So stay tuned. Leave me a message. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what you'd like to learn about. Our next episode came from one of your requests, which was executive function. So drop a message. Let me know how I'm doing. I really hope you had a great week. This is Lily Cornell signing off. Have a good afternoon. Till next week.